Well, hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Jared. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. Today is my wife and I's 8th anniversary. Before you judge me, know that she's in the next room playing Sims and watching Love Island. So, she can absolutely enjoy that within that absolute garbage television within the confines of her own office. Want a Bob? Travel Star? Before I even noticed there was anyone watching me on TikTok, I got a notification that they removed a comment because it violated community guidelines. So, good morning to you too, TikTok. Thank you, Travel. She said that my wife said she's happy. The dogs are alive. We got new wedding rings. We get new rings every year. But we started with a $20 budget in year one, and then you just increase the annual budget by $10. So now in year eight, I think we actually crossed $100. But you get a new ring every year that you're not over invested in something that ultimately is a symbol to other people that you're married, right? So, fortunately, there were certainly fireworks, but not in this neighborhood. This is too quiet a neighborhood. Too real a demographic of people. My neighbors are all retirement age, so very likely they did not vote for this shit. That's for sure. Now you gotta tell me where you've heard this before. But when I Google HR1, and I'll share the link. Remember how he made like a big show of signing that shit yesterday? No sound? How? How could there be no sound? I'm yelling into my phone. Does that make sense? Oh, there's that better. That has to be. I didn't think I had my headset on or on me. But I guess that passes. I don't know why there wouldn't be sound. Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Still going at 2 a.m. here. That's wild. Sorry about that. I was like, what do you mean no sound? Oh, I have a headset somewhere. I don't even know where that is. I hate to I don't hate to be like this. I think it's necessary to have someone with my perspective, regardless of how dumb I am. But I find it fucking crazy. I find it crazy that the last two statements I've heard out of Joe Biden are talking about Donald Trump undoing what he's done. He's undoing my legacy. Again, before I really had any sort of conversation in the comment section, comments were literally being removed for violating TikTok's terms of service. All all I said was the last two statements I've heard out of Joe Biden were lamenting Donald Trump destroying his legacy. I just feel like it's a real bad time to be thinking about yourself. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like if I was the former president of the United States and I was watching what was going on, I certainly wouldn't be saying on multiple occasions into a camera, "Damn, they're undoing all that cool shit I did." The fuck? Someone reported your life. I don't know why you would do that. I didn't say anything wrong. Yeah. Oh, I'm being fucking suppressed, like a motherfucker on TikTok. Check it. So I have like 16,500 followers, something like that on TikTok. How the fuck have the last 20 videos gotten 500 or less views? It's because it's because uh people are watching my shit in hindsight. Blackhawk. When I get shit reported on my content, it's months old. Like you really had to go back and look for shit to report. What the fuck? Like I think I got a strike. But that was my first you gotta realize I've been wading through this shit for 7 months. I think I started, what do we say? November. I started October 11th. So you've been at this shit. Always think about this. You know what's insane? I literally have a degree in social media. That's how we got to the part where I'm right here with one strike. Like Twitter was worse. Twitter was worse. Yeah, right. I feel real bad for Texas. Uh, Shout out Texas. People are awfully defensive of either where they live or where they're from, and there's a basically a 50-50 burger in the United States whether they've got Texas in them genes. Um, but yeah, I'm thinking about at least 23 young women are missing. Camp Mystic in Texas due to storms, right? Yeah, a storm unleashed nearly a foot of rain just before dawn Friday, sent floodwaters gushing out of the Guadalupe River. The flood prone region known as Hill Country is dotted with century old summer camps. Yeah, floods hit real hard in Texas. So hey, I'm not a religious person. Uh, your prayers are not going to help find these young people. Uh, but it's okay if that's all you got. Um, Man, it'd just be real nice if they found somebody really familiar with that area that like knew how. Oh my God. Yeah, no, they're not finding anyone. Yeah, prayer. Yeah, prayers are unnecessary. Don't even worry about it. Just don't even look. Holy shit. They're 30 foot an hour. That's a huge amount. Yeah, a foot of water in a day in a morning. Oh, honey. Like here's a picture. You see these fucking trees down? So here's an art. I'm posting an article from the AP in the YouTube chat. Yeah. And the bottom two pictures made my fucking skin curl. It wasn't even the bottom two pictures. It's like the second and third pictures. Look at those big ass trees downed. And then the next picture, oh my God. What you can see, rivers don't normally have waves, kids. I don't know if you. It flows, rivers flow. They don't normally, the water doesn't move so fast that it creates tufts. God. Yeah, they're gone. They're gone. Yep. That's just too much water, man. Yeah. It's the beginning, right? There are many reasons I don't have children, but the proclivity of a parent to allow their child in this environment to go to a summer camp in a flood-prone region known as hill country. If I told you, "Hey, I got invited to a summer camp, Dad," it's in hill country, a flood-prone region in southeast Texas. What would you say? If your answer's, "I'm open minded to it, how much is it?" You shouldn't be a fucking parent. I'll say it. If you hear what that AP report said and any of that information ever was in your ear hole before your child left for that trip, I'm sorry. What? And parents have been throwing their kids to camps like this my whole life. I went to a camp. I have never talked about this, but this brings up something. When I was in Boy Scouts, there was this sort of rite of passage uh, that they wanted me to go to, and it was in Texas. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Outpost, isn't it? And to be honest with you, it had absolutely nothing to do with Boy Scouts at all. It was basically survival. Um, it was like battle royale. It was fucking awful. I wouldn't recommend like every person for themselves or every like small group for themselves. It absolutely leaves someone behind if they weren't in your group. And you're like, is this like the Boy Scout way? And they were just like, it's every man for themselves. Like, no, I don't really think that works. Like, if people die, it's on your hands, especially for not lifting them. You fucking idiots. Um, but yeah, I went to a I went to a it was like a I think it was called Outpost. I can't remember. Clearly, there's a lot of trauma related to that. Yes, well, it was like Survivor. You had like a a small kitchenette that you could work out of, and you had a tent, and you were camping outside, and it was a couple 2 3 weeks long. Um, but the conditions were insane. Extremely high temperatures, sudden heavy rainfall, just like that, making completely, reforming an entire area in front of you. Yeah, and you had to like, I think it was called Outpost. But I went to one up in Wisconsin at a jamboree, and I remember being like, "This is not fun." Like we've turned camping and roughing it into like survival. Yo, uh, I'm dead ass thinking about buying an RV. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about it. I think about it. Like just being able to go. You wanna go do something? Let's go. So the thing that is frustrating at this point for me, here's an article from the New Republic, is that I told you Donald Trump was sitting with some White House aides and he made a comment that he didn't want his big beautiful bill to affect people that have Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP. Okay? Which is like who the bill affects, dude. So here's the article where you can see uh, Donald Trump has no idea what's coming. He does not understand what he just did. Now, ignorance does not make you not culpable, and understand that this administration should this regime period should just be held accountable for all the people that are going to suffer as a result of this. Because here's the thing, lots of the stuff in this big beautiful bill don't actually go into effect until January 1st of next year. What Donald Trump is relying again on is he's relying on his little foot soldiers to do their thing, and he's relying on the people that oppose the things that he does. Jared English, um, the things that he does are meant to incite you, but understand that results are not the goal. It's the initial shock and awe out of everything. Um, And also, I want to continue to point out that I have a big problem with the environment that I'm in. The two schools of thought. The one is that there's far too many people that are sticking to their shtick, and they're not talking about what's going on, and I can't fuck with that. I'm sorry. If you're just here to be funny, or if you're just put here to make some content and make people laugh and not talk about I think less of you now. It's gotten to the point where it's like you've sat on your hands too long. You've played there, and a lot of them are male, white cis male, veteran comedians. I feel like are fence sitters. Some of them are still on active duty, and there is that knowledge that I have that they can't really talk about politics while they're on active duty. Cool. I think all these people dying in Texas because of a lack of an early warning system, because of the crippling of the National Weather Service, right, and the NOAA. Who's calling what? 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 What name did I call? What I? What name did I call? Anyway, yeah, are gonna find ways to blame us. But I want to point out that there's an awful lot of people not talking about what's going on and just acting and just like two ships passing in the night. They don't even recognize what is happening around them and failing to acknowledge it and speak on it and even make content. I want to see a piece of content that says I can't speak on it. I'm aware of it. It's having an impact on me at work, but I can't talk about it because I'm on active duty. I need that. I need someone to say I'm fucking heartbroken over what's going on in my country, but I really can't talk about that because I'm on active duty. And if you don't, it makes me think that, oh, you're in a privileged position where what is happening in the world isn't impacting you, isn't affecting your work, right? I worked yesterday. So if anybody wanted to know how I felt about the 4th of July, I clocked in. I sold the first two people that I talked to, saved them a whole fuckload of money, and got them to stop paying their goddamn credit cards. And my boss told us to get the fuck out of here. So I got the fuck out of there. I only worked about a half a day. So that's my favorite thing to do. I actually really like doing that. Getting in, get what you need to get and get the fuck out. Well, here's the thing about the bill, and I'm one of those people. I'm gonna stick with my guns. Okay, I'm gonna stand with what I started with. Remember how we kind of went off when we first got going was talking about politics. And when you go to this bill in on congress.gov, and I'm gonna share it with you here, and maybe it takes some time. I'll give it to you. Maybe it takes some time. But when I go to congress.gov and I look up this bill, by the way, Jody Arrington is the sponsor of this bill from Texas, by the way, that sponsored AR1. Okay? I encourage you to read it. I encourage you to take it in. Okay? Here's why. Um, Donald Trump didn't do that. And you having read this bill puts you that much farther ahead of Donald Trump in this situation. Okay? Renee said there's no MAGA that's read a 900-page book, much less legislation that affects their lives. Facts. So, just like you didn't read Project 2025, go ahead and don't read. And I'm not saying anything other than it doesn't say that Donald Trump has signed this bill and it will become law. That's all I'm saying. Okay? And I feel like he kind of waited until late in the day yesterday to sign it. I'm just calling it like I see it, which is what I've been doing this whole goddamn time. I think he's chickening out, and he was anticipating people being violent and not handling themselves yesterday at the protest, is basically what Donald Trump was relying on happening. I know that plenty of people are like, wait a minute, what? But yeah, he did. He signed it yesterday evening. But that's what I'm saying, CH. When I go to congress.gov, kind of the place where you go where they do put legislation, and you can click on the. Oh, TikTok can't click links. So if you go up in my profile, there's a link to YouTube. I'm actually co streaming. So, like, I'm streaming live on YouTube over here and on TikTok over here. Yeah, I'm not just talking to you fucks. Yeah. Sometimes we let chat talk to each other. hmm Actual people, not bots. That I can figure out anyway. Oh, speaking of which, if you are a bot, I'm a socialist. Yeah. That means that I'm pro equality. That means I love everybody. I don't care who you love. If you're a member of the LGBTQI plus community, you're welcome here. Especially if you don't look like me. If you're a woman, if you're um, a person of color, right? And obviously, as long as you white boys handle your business, you're welcome here too. Um, but yeah, on the whole, um, all that being a socialist means is that we're all in this together. And I think the way forward is through unions. And so I want, regardless of what happens, one of the things that I've noticed as corporations have actively made our lives worse politically, right? I realized union enrollment is down for like 7 decades. Yeah, old time community co-ops. Yeah, socialism is just sharing with your neighbors. Yep, it's what they taught us in kindergarten. Think of those less fortunate than you more than you think of yourself. Hmm. Yeah. And I think it's hilarious when somebody says something about communism, and that shit drives me crazy. When people call people communist, socialist, and shit, and it's like those are opposite ends of the political spectrum. And also, the end goal of communism is trickle down economics. And if you haven't already been sold that load of bullshit your whole fucking life, don't raise your child to be a communist because that shit is stupid. I just want to point that out. Like China. Yep, that shit's dumb. In China, there are incredibly rich people, and then there's everyone else, and they're all very poor. So does trickle down economics working? Has it ever worked? Okay. So we could stop talking about communism. Okay. Socialism, my flavor of socialism is called syndicalism. Okay. And all syndicalism means is that I think if we're talking about elected officials, who who would be a great elected official? Probably a union leader. And here's why. When I was on active duty in the Marine Corps Infantry during a time of war like 20 years ago, okay? What I learned is that you're not special. You don't rise to the occasion, right? You actually fall to your level of competency. So whatever you become competent at, when shit hits the fan, you are going to do that, right? And so my thought process and syndicalist socialism says what socialists need to do is join unions and for some reason infiltrate unions is in my brain, but that's not what I'm trying to say. But get into the unions and then stick your neck out and try to be a leader within your union. And as you, as a socialist, right, become a leader within your union, and you are working on making sure other people understand what a socialist is. A socialist is someone who isn't a racist, isn't a sexist, bigot, right? And that anyone can be around and feel safer as a result, and not feel like somebody's gonna hurt them, right? That's just crazy. And what's gonna happen is that bill is gonna get torn apart in the courtroom over the next 6 months. And Donald Trump, his goal, because remember, he's a narcissist. He can never be wrong, right? So what will happen is Trump is German, yeah. It was actually Donald Trump's actual last name. His dad just couldn't handle his child getting made fun of, so they changed their name to Trump. Hmm. Yeah, he's actually doing he's doing the bad stuff. Big ugly bill can be challenged. Yeah, well, yeah. So there are provisions with every law that you could just challenge it before it goes into effect. It'll get stripped down. And what Donald Trump will do is he'll say Democrats are making it worse. Hmm. That's what his plan is. We passed this bill as it stands. It's going to go into effect on January 1st, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but it's the Democrats' fault as they continue to fight it. Hmm. Yeah. You know who else isn't good people? Elon Musk's dad is a bad person too. You see what happens as you get older is men become unfuckable, and once they become unfuckable, they become weird as fuck. You're welcome. I know I just answered a lot of questions for a lot of people. They were like wondering like why are these super rich people that like should just be rich and like fuck off, right? Why are they fucking with us? Oh, because nobody will fuck them. That's that simple. I've 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 called them the unfuckables. Straight out of the TikTok shop. TikTok shop, TikTok shop. Hmm. He had high heels on. And I don't really care about wearing fucking heels. The thing that I've never seen a more unsecure bunch than short people. Men specifically, if you want to get real about it. Not shocked at all that people are that sensitive. Yeah, the president of the United States said that he hates Democrats. Uh, I I don't even know what to fucking say anymore. I don't know anyone that calls themselves a Democrat or Republican. I've never met anyone through all of this. Think about what's going on in the last like 10 years. I still don't regularly meet people. Yeah, I regularly don't meet people that are like, "Oh, I'm a fucking Democrat. I'm a Republican." You know what's disturbing? I've met people that are like, still, "Oh, I don't really care about politics. Ah, fuck politics. I don't really want to talk about politics." You know what I noticed? So I work in a highly competitive sales environment where I get paid oodles of American dollars to help people get out of debt. So I work in finance, and it's highly competitive. All of the people that said that they don't really fuck with politics, they didn't fucking make it. Hmm. That's right. They didn't make it. They don't make decisions. You gotta be decisive. And if you're not, it's a problem. If you're gonna ride the fence because you think that's the path to get everyone to like you, I don't like you. There, I said it. I don't like people like that. I need people that know who the fuck you are, right? Like I can't remember the name of the TikToker, but the 100% who did you vote for tariff is in effect. That's great. That was a great line. 100% who did you vote for? Who cares what's a real man? No, I actually don't give a fuck. What is a real man is not even a question to me. Mind your motherfucking business is the order of the day. Leave people the fuck alone. Stay out of their houses and out of their bathrooms and out of their doctor's visits. Leave people the fuck alone. Mind your business. Stop focusing on it. See, the thing about it is people can't focus on how your life sucks and it's your fault. And so what you got to do is you got to find someone to blame for your station. And one day you'll wake up and realize you cannot blame anyone else for where you are, but you'll do it. And it's called minding other people's business. And that's why you're in the situation. That's why you still live with your mother. It's why you don't have any friends. It's why things aren't going well for you. Yeah, man, it's tough out here in Texas, man. If you were trying to rub one out or play with a like a vibrator or something, tough sledding. I can't imagine that level of oppression. Like when my government is making the oldest of the hobbies, when they're banning porn, they've lost. That's how I think about it. They've lost the shit. So if anybody wondered, yeah, yep. So like I said, I'm literally I don't normally prognosticate, but I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt what the next 6 months are going to look like. The next 6 months are going to be the legal fight over the big beautiful bill, and Donald Trump and his dumb little group of people that he works with are going to be saying the Democrats are destroying this country because they're tearing apart this big beautiful bill using these corrupt judges to decide if aspects of the bill violate law. Hmm? Yep, yep. Because everything starts January 1, 2026. So everybody acts like you can't play dumb around me, right? You gotta understand. Uh, this is predicting the future. We're looking ahead and saying January 1st, 14 million plus people are going to lose their health care. Yep. And I knew this because your health care is annual. When you're talking about Medicare and Medicaid, that's a year long award. So when you get Medicaid, you get it annually. When you get Medicare, annually. So it starts on January 1st and goes to December 31st of every year. Mhm. But think about people having free healthcare losing free healthcare. That's not good policy. It's not good policy. Brandy said, I'm going to losing my home healthcare aid and I'm terminally ill. See? So Brandy is going to unalive far sooner than she should and also will suffer. Isn't that terrible policy? See, I'm a socialist and I think that there should not be governmental policy that costs bodies. If one person unalives and it's because of an elected official, that's a matter of national security. If one person in the United States unalives and they're not actually an American, that is a matter of international security. And the President of the United States is responsible for more than 1 million unalivings all around the world. Hey, if we don't know each other, don't try to get on here with me. Okay? If you and I don't know each other and I don't know your politics, I'm not sharing my room of people. I'm very protective of my audience. How it will affect HMOs with welfare. Yeah, that's the whole thing. People that have Medicare and Medicaid, January 1st, 14 million people are going to lose their Medicare, Medicaid. Those dual special needs plans that cost nothing to use, and give you thousands of dollars of benefits for stuff like dental, vision, and hearing, and even give you money for groceries and shit. All that's going away. A whole bunch of people. And the thing about it is, it's it's Republicans that are going to be directly affected by this. Largely Republican states. Remember this. Blue states are healthier. Blue parts of the country, healthier. They also have more people. The red parts of the country do not exemplify population density. That's not how that works. So understand the way this big beautiful bill works is it shuts down clinics and small hospitals. Rural, white serving, white facing, yeah, HMOs on Medicare. So HMO, Health Management Organizations, is a style of Medicare Advantage plan. So how, I think your question was, how will it affect HMOs on welfare? So the HMO is the individual healthcare plan that you're enrolled in, is your HMO. Okay? So let's say you have like United Healthcare. It's not going to affect that healthcare plan. It's going to affect your ability to qualify and enroll for it. Yeah. So the health management organization is going to exist whether or not you're enrolled in it. But what's going to have a big impact is the availability of healthcare. I mean, people bitch about waiting times for care. What do you think happens when all the small clinics and hospitals go out of business because of a lack of funding? Oh, you're going to have to go to the big city and you're going to have to wait for an appointment. So, what's going to happen in my eyes? Here's where the real danger is. Nobody asked. The real danger is all these poor white people that have been getting it both ways. They've been voting against their own self-interests, and they are the kind of people that are never going to change, right? They've been racist bigots their whole life, and they think now they're going to go into the big city and they're going to say all those slurs that they say where they're from and get away with all the time. And that shit's not going to fly. And what's going to end up happening is white people are going to get up in their feelings and they're going to go in and unalive people in a hospital and in a clinic because they're not getting served, because they're used to being served. And that's just not how it works. Yeah, I don't think that I don't think that it's worth arguing over. When I tell you, what do you think happens when all these small clinics and hospitals close? And I say, well, I think waiting times are immediately going to increase because there are less places to go and less people to go see, and they're farther away. And all those people in the city that work at hospitals and clinics, they're going to suddenly be really busy, and it's just going to be really hard to get into places. And like you said, it'll be inaccurate diagnoses. Yeah, one of the major problems with all these healthcare facilities closing is that you're probably going to have to go see somebody new because your doctor's probably moving, and your MA and your PAs they're moving. But yeah, and worst part about all of it is that this mostly is going to directly negatively impact people who voted for this regime. Yeah. My favorite is I saw somebody say, "We don't have Medicaid in California, we have Medi-Cal." And I was just like, "Don't like that's California's Medicaid is called Medi-Cal." The way I feel about it is the problem with saying, "Oh yeah, Obamacare is going to change too." The problem with saying like I don't feel bad for the people that voted for it is that those are all the people that you left behind. when you left your hometown and because it was too ignorant and you couldn't fucking stay there anymore? Yeah, and it's not fair to say that because not everybody knew. Yeah, not everybody pays attention to the news. Yep, yep, yep. Private healthcare costs will go up. Seems like Luigi was onto something. And remember, like I told you, the U.S. healthcare system's collapsing anyway. Yep, blue states and blue cities. You can never forget about blue cities. Seen nothing about the protests in D.C. was a huge. I don't know. Next protest is July 17th. People are saying it's a nightmare. This is not the America you grew up in. No, it really is. It just was really good at hiding itself. Anti-Trump protests. Here's something from Newsweek on the protests yesterday. Remember, the mainstream media is not going to report on this. So they're not going to report on it until it breaks records. Now listen, I'm not trying to get you to burn down your house. TikTok shop, TikTok shop, TikTok shop. But listen, 5051 has got people putting Protest Finder USA, sorry, has got everybody putting a solitarily candle in a window. Okay? Every day I run into somebody that says, I've been listening to you for a while. I've been on the fence about whether or not to get involved, and now I'm in, but I got issues. And one of the chief complaints people have is they say, well, protests can't be effective until it's every single day. And we need to be protesting every single day in Washington, D.C., on the steps of the U.S. Capitol. And to that, I would say consider the May Day movement that started on May, and now they're in the third month. So um, there is a actual protest every day in Washington D.C. as part of the May Day movement. Now, if you let's say you don't live in or can't get to Washington D.C. to protest, consider 5050.1. Yeah, that's what I said. Don't burn your house down. Right, Bob? Bob's a firefighter. He agrees. Get an LED candle. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, I think all protest is good protest except for pop up protest. Random protests are not great. Okay? You don't know who that is. You don't know who's in charge of that shit. So, here is a printable calendar for July. I know there was protests yesterday. There's no King's protests today. But here's a July protest. Okay. On, let's see. actwomensmarch.com, 5050.1, Free America Weekend protests. So they're protesting all weekend. And then on Wednesday of next week, your local congressional offices, they're protesting the big bad bill. And then it looks like Stand Up for Democracy next Saturday, a week from today. And then the Good Trouble protest on the 17th, which is a Thursday. Now, personally, personally, a lot of people have been saying we need to strike. And a lot of other people have been saying when is a good time to strike. And in my opinion, July 8th through 11th, that makes a ton of sense because it's Amazon Prime Days. So do you see how it works? When they're working really hard to get me to buy something, I'm working real hard to not buy shit. Does that track? Okay. Yeah, I mean, in addition to good place to protest, right? Donate to, let me see here. Oh, that was really good. Where are you at now? Donate to a local food bank, visit the library, museum, or other public institutions, donate money to groups or people doing good, join a protest and or wear symbols of resistance. I need a, is it called a kiafa? Kafaya? No. So me sitting here hosting a daily show wearing a Dodgers hat and the Dodgers turned away ICE, right? They didn't let ICE into the stadium to inspect their employees and shit. And they called the police and the police drove them out. Okay? Kara Pruitt said, I will be in Indiana. Okay? But yeah, you could protest. You could protest in your yard. Okay? You put a sign up. You know, 5051 is telling people just to put a candle, a single candle in a window. Bob, our friend, the firefighter, said, how about an LED candle? Okay? Just a single candle in a window, right? I bought a Harvard hoodie, right? I bought an LA Dodgers hat. I'm a White Sox fan, but I'm wearing a Dodgers hat. Or I wear my Marine Corps hat, right? It's all about symbol, right? You know, people have asked me about, oh, did you see the president sending 200 Marines to Florida? Yeah. Remember, uh, the president of the United States can send Marines to guard federal buildings. And I know that he doesn't understand that he can't put bullets in their guns and make them shoot Americans. It's not what they're trained to do. But they can go stand somewhere. You can do this. The President of the United States can send the Marines wherever he wants to guard federal buildings. Hmm. You know, I was thinking about there's no ethical way to become a billionaire. Nope. Think about it if you were like a poker player, right? and you were like, I'm going to make $1 million a day, you'll never be a fucking billionaire. And that probably pays more than any job you could ever get. Hmm. It's crazy to think that you could have enough and want more. That's what I think. When as soon as my needs are met, I start looking around. Not so that I can feel like I'm in power, but so I can try to help someone else, because if I don't, yeah, I gotta sneeze. I don't think that actually muted the mic at all. I'm really sorry. Make sure you take care of your EMTs. I feel like this might be a little inappropriate. Sotomayor says Donald Trump has Supreme Court justices on speed dial. Yeah, and a lot of people are talking about this email the SSA sent out. Highly. Thanks, Cease. Yeah, no mute on up. It was Logitech. I think I gotta push this button. Ah, it's right here. It's okay. It's okay, kids. But from what people have said, though, like they can really hear me. So yeah, I got it yesterday. Yeah, it's crazy to see all these government agencies and people just bend the knee. Yeah, it does. Apparently have great audio. I was 2 for 2 yesterday on a holiday. I was surprised people. I actually thought the second one, I was like, this person shouldn't even be buying. Like, I just didn't want to enroll all their debt, and it was kind of. So I think we talked about this yesterday. Of course, if you're on TikTok, I'm sharing that for absolutely no reason because you're not able to see it apparently. Got 50 or so people watching at the moment. Now is a good time to say, hey, make sure you get 8 hours of sleep a day. Make sure that you drink water and you eat right and you exercise. The people that are your oppressors, they don't do that shit. And if there's anything I've learned in my life is that you may think you can do it all, but you can't. Not for long, and it will catch up with you. Gets everybody eventually. So, I know that doesn't feel good in the wake of what's currently happening. And doing anything out of fear, I'm not doing something because I'm afraid, is giving power to your oppressor, right? Not standing up, not standing up for yourself, right? That's what got us into this position. Someone made a comment on TikTok. I blocked them and I waited until they probably left. But they said your peaceful protest accomplished nothing, and I digress. Peaceful protest has these elected officials shaking in their fucking boots. Get out of town. It has Democratic lawmakers complaining about the volume of phone calls. Are you kidding me? What do you mean? It's not influencing them. To say that protest is not influencing our government is absurd. That is completely um um hmm. Yeah, but to be dismissive at this juncture is, and as I've said, Republicans are freaking out because Elon Musk said he's going to form a new party. I think it'd be a great time for the American Socialist Party. Hmm. There are 535 seats of government in the United States. Are all 535 of those people the best person for the job? I'm willing to bet the best person for the job is not a registered Democrat or Republican. Because again, my whole life, I've never really met people that call themselves Democrat or Republican. Hmm. And the way they mask it, by the way, by never saying they're Democrat or Republican, or saying I'm a conservative. Conserve what? White supremacy? So as I've said, I think this is the death of the Republican Party. I think MAGA will eventually, they won't be cool anymore, and they'll get kind of kicked to the curb, and they'll whine and pout, right? But ultimately, they know, just like we know. You said, "What's up, Unc?" What I mean? See, remember how I told you this may be a time to stop paying your federal taxes? Whole ass states are proposing a new gambit, withholding federal payments in at least four states: Connecticut, Maryland, New York, and Wisconsin. So Donald Trump is illegally withholding funds that have been previously approved. Without those funds, we're going to see Maryland residents severely harmed. So I think I want to use my platform to tell other people so that I'm going to go on ADP today and I'm going to stop paying federal taxes. Anyone heard of the No Kings Act? Okay, that doesn't give you a great. Hold on. Yeah, I want to point out that on the 4th of July, the President of the United States said that he hates Democrats. On the 4th of July. It's fucking insane. Soldiers are taking a stand against Donald Trump. So here's. Did he make an announcement yesterday? Yeah, he said he publicly said he hates Democrats. Somebody said, "Come on, McDonald's, do your job." No shit, right? By the way, none of you asked, but I beat Garuda today in Final Fantasy 11 for the first time. And then I saw Gaius, and I was like, "Holy shit!" So that's right. That's right. Defeated Garuda. Hmm. First try too. I was pretty shocked. Pretty tough boss. Now, I would go so far as to say I think every Democrat that voted against impeaching Donald Trump should also be replaced. I think that every member of the Blue Dog Caucus should be replaced. I think every elected official that takes money from AI PAC should be replaced. I think every Republican should acknowledge that once Donald Trump's little foray into politics is done, that MAGA is going to leave with all their money, and that's the death of the Republican Party. They lose every election ever because they don't have any money, and you also don't have a fucking platform without Donald Trump on it. They are nothing. He has reduced them to nothing. And so, as I've said, if you're a hardcore Democrat, if you believe in capitalism and you think this democracy is working as intended, and you are like, I'm a Democrat, I've never met that person, okay? But that just means that you have no real loyalty to any political party, and that's prior to the formation of like the American Socialist Party. That's okay, right? It's actually okay to not be tied to either the Democrat or Republican Party. At this point, they don't deserve it. If you're just like a good tax-paying citizen that cares about the people around you, you can't look at either of these parties and identify. There's no way. The way I see it is one party is actively trying to destroy our democracy, and the other is standing there yelling fire with their hands in their pockets. By the way, imagine being the food truck that decided to roll up the gut truck that rolls up to Alcatraz, to Alligator Alcatraz. That's crazy. It is true. Democrats, uh, Hakeem Jeffries, Hakeem Jeffries did wait until the last second to oppose the big beautiful bill, and he's going to use that to fundraise. A conga line of angsty Republican lawmakers filed through the West Wing on Wednesday, hemming and hawing about Trump's bill. They walked out with signed merchandise and photos from the Oval Office. So imagine going to the president and saying, Sir, what am I going to tell my constituents when they lose their health care? And the old man says, fuck all that. Here's a photo of me with Ali signed. Get out. I guess that's the difference between me and Donald Trump is I have absolutely no desire for my signature to be worth anything. Know what I mean? Fuck these fuckers. But yeah, if you haven't seen this already, here's how many people will lose healthcare in each state. And here's a small win. A judge has said you can't ban DEI grants without bothering to define DEI. So, again, if I don't know you, don't ever ask to get up here and share this microphone with me because I don't know you or your politics or if I can trust you. Okay? And I notice it's men. We'll see that I've been here every day, that I have an audience, and want to, for some reason, without bothering to do the work of getting to know me, right? Yeah, I'm pretty pissed. The president and the former president, their latest comments, Donald Trump didn't know how bad the cuts are to Medicaid in his own bill. And also, the last two public statements from Joe Biden, the former president, he has complained about Donald Trump destroying his legacy of all his accomplishments. Do you know what I'm not thinking about when a bunch of people are going to unalive what I did to put us in this position and be upset that you, you left the Oval Office and left this man in charge? I think it's funny that I saw like Fox News saying only 11,000 people a year are going to unalive because of this bill. What? Anything about the Hague and the Big Ugly Bill? Probably not. Further trying to delegitimize the Hague. Yeah, Jerry. Only it's only gonna unalive 11,000 extra people a year. Yeah, only. Okay. Again, that's what they were saying on Fox News. So we all know that means, man. Just like I told you, for years I worked in healthcare. Every single person that I talked to for years in healthcare makes less than $2,000 a month. So just know, cutting people's healthcare when they already make less than $2,000 a month and costing them all the money that their healthcare would cost um, is a death sentence. Hmm. Oh, yeah. Straight out of the TikTok shop. This is what I like to see. People were asking about. I just want to point out, if you're a Trumper, uh, Trump is responsible for 700,000 plus COVID deaths because of his lack of action regarding COVID, and his decisions to cut funding to USAID have already caused an additional 300,000 deaths. Therefore, Donald Trump has his decisions have directly resulted in 1 million deaths. Which is the worst thing to happen in the United States ever. Not close. Oh, Gavin's winning that shit too. So know that's coming. Yeah, every decision has just been really bad. Yeah, but I think he's gonna have to sit with it now that he's signed this big beautiful bill. He's gonna have to start to sit with what's coming. As we've said though, we've known all this shit was coming. If you read Project 2025, you knew that this shit was coming, right? You read this bill, you knew this shit was coming. Uh, if you knew, oh wow. So I wonder how much louder that is. Is that too loud now? I just turned the volume up on the. I just turned the volume all the way up. You could probably hear me breathing and shit. We should probably turn that down. Okay, 70. No, well, thank you, Dustin. When it comes to TikTok, I'm just screaming into my phone. It's the headset that it's YouTube. I was waiting for people to say I was screaming at them. Anyway, but yeah, somebody was like, "Wait, Donald Trump said he hated people on 4th of July." Yeah, he did. What a shitbird. The GOP is not a working class party. That's why we need a working class political party. A party for the people. That's the American Socialist Party. Hmm. That's me. In the next couple weeks, we'll get the bank account set up and we'll legitimize ourselves But understand, I was thinking about this. Being a socialist means I'm not a bigot. And that I want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, and housing. And that I'm pro union. To the degree that I now spend a portion of my time every day telling people, hey, join a fucking union. I'm join Work in America. I uh, I work in finance, which is like the wild wild west, so there's not really a union to go to. So I join Work in America. It's free. But yeah, I started unfollowing a bunch of people today. So if you're making content not talking about this shit and not talking about what's going on and just being yourself, I'm not about that shit anymore. I'm not consuming that anymore. I want to see people embracing this suffering and saying like, you know, I didn't really want to do this, but I can't just sit idly by and not say anything. If I don't see that kind of shit out of people, I'm off you altogether. I don't give a fuck, right? There are so many people that have spent their last X number of years building an online persona and have made a living not speaking out about shit. I'll talk about everything else, and I don't fuck with those people. Those fence riders, those people that I don't want to say anything. It might impact my brand or my business, because those are the same people that bend the knee, lick boots, kiss rings, and I'm not about that shit either. Jesus Christ. On veterans, or I'm sorry, on okay, motherfuckers. On July 4th, Donald Trump was deporting Vintage Mama 66 said, "Where else are you?" Um, so I'm not on Facebook, Threads, IG, WhatsApp, Twitter. I don't do none of that shit. I got off there. You know, about the only place you'll ever catch me is on Blue Sky. Oh, and by the way, Darksiders, if you haven't already. I think there's several of them. Darksiders. It's about the four horsemen of the apocalypse. hmm that's a game you should play. hmm if you're a gamer, if you're a gamer. But yeah, I don't really. I got a degree in social media, and then fascism took hold, and all the fascists own all of the social media sites. So I got the fuck off of those places, and I'm gonna get off of those places until new ones are born that aren't fascist run, like Skylight and Neptune. Whenever they get their shit together, see what happens when BB comes to town. Blue Sky's better and cooler. Yeah, I post shit on Blue Sky. I look at my shit. The people. Oh, by the way, I do want to make sure I close with this. Okay. So I want to make sure that my audience takes the same sort of level of disdain for anyone clamoring for violence right now, especially from the left. Again, I've told you, this is a war of attrition. Can't afford to lose people. You especially can't afford to lose people that are able bodied. right? And those are the people that you're trying to convince to commit acts of violence. And I'm here to tell you it's not the fucking answer. You're playing into them. This is what they want you to do. This is why. And I started the show today by saying, hey, look at HR one. Google HR one. Go to Congress.gov. Hey, it does not say this bill has been signed. And you'd think, yeah, you'd think he'd run to make sure the internet says that shit was signed. Okay? So, hey, we did the damn thing. We've been here for 90 minutes. It's my wife and I's anniversary. Okay? So, go love on your loved ones. Okay? Have a good rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow, okay? Yeah, thanks. Maybe we'll get breakfast. Who knows? Let's be wild.